Is running your business getting in the way of, well, running your business? We at Remote Quality Bookkeeping understand that hiring a full-time bookkeeper can not only be a hassle, but expensive as well. We understand that running your business is your first priority, and that's why Remote Quality Bookkeeping, in association with the AdamRondeauShow.com, are proud to bring you this online, informative, web-based series to give you the do's and don'ts of bookkeeping and the benefits of a cloud-based, outsourced bookkeeping service like ours. Be a part of the show. Find us on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And of course, you can always email the show at marketing@rqb.co. That's marketing@rqb.co. Welcome. We are at a web-based series from Remote Quality Bookkeeping that is presented by the Adam Rondeau Show. I'm here with the founder today, Mark Kilduff. How's it going, bud?
Good morning.
Well, is it? Could be afternoon. Who knows? Either way, it's good to be here. So this is going to be a web-based series that we're going to be having for your bookkeeping service. And I figured that if we're going to have a bookkeeping webinar-based thing, we might as well at least know who the company is and a little bit more about the person that runs it. So I know that you used to not always be in bookkeeping. That was we had briefly discussed that. What was it that you did prior to opening your own business?
So I got started with my career in produce. Up in the Northeast, there's a prominent restaurant, grocery chain that my family and the owners of that got together and grew this during the Reagan years when supply-side economics really worked in their favor, and grew this into a huge chain of grocery stores. And my father, my family supplies the produce for them to this day. So I came on in the late 80s as someone who was loading trucks and getting the deliveries out to the store on time, but worked my way through the office and up through to CFO. And then, decided that getting up at 2 a.m. wasn't perfect for my scheme of things.
Something we can all agree on.
So I decided to leave and do what I did best, which was solving puzzles, solving problems. Bill Gates had just introduced the Apple computer, and I started programming. And I've done several programs, one of which runs that produce company to this day, but also wrote one for the History Channel.
Wow.
That controls or communicates with 9 producers and the accounting office so that they can know when they're on or off target in their budgets and whether or not they can afford a high-end narrator or a low-end narrator, that sort of thing.
So basically hiring me or someone like Morgan Freeman. Yeah.
So that started the course in which I decided to take. And then when the internet started to grow up, I was able to feel comfortable in security and encryption to the point where I started hosting people's data on servers using remote desktop protocol to allow them access to it. And so I was a cloud accountant before they even came up with the pun.
So basically the whole entrepreneurial small business, like do-it-yourself kind of thing has always kind of been in the family, kind of never kind of got to work for the man, as they say, never have that kind of a 9-to-5 boss office job, something you really can't, which is good because it's a lost art these days.
I had aspirations to fly F-14s for the U.S. Navy, and that went away when the family business started growing, and they needed more and more of me. In fact, my brothers used to call the school and tell the principal or the school that Mark had to be let out early. And a delivery truck would come by and pick me up at school so that I could come back to the warehouse and load trucks.
So I'm assuming the whole excuse, like, oh, he has a family emergency, never really worked when a 30-foot box truck is the one that's grabbing you. Like, get in, get your scrub on. We need you.
It was unique.
For the high school that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mark's ride's here. That's good though. So not even that, but just you're one of those people that I used to hate back in school who just numbers seem to come naturally to you. Because I'm assuming doing encryption, anything programming based, and now obviously being an accountant / bookkeeper, you've really got to know your numbers. So that's just always been a natural skill. You're just like, oh, numbers. Got it.
I have a virtual chalkboard in my head.
Don't like you people.
And I see things for what they are, and yet I'm dyslexic, which actually attributes to that ability. But yet, when reading a book, it prohibits me from reading quickly or
letters and words. No, but you
Yeah.
put a math equation that long in front of you, and it takes you 8 seconds. You're like 4.
Yeah, code
like,
I can read, backwards and forwards, but to sit and read a novel at a younger age, I would already forget what I had just read on that page,
It's amazing.
and I would have to go back and read it again. Oh yeah.
Well,
It was a block.
I'm glad to have you in my talk show corner then, because numbers were never my specialty. But and as you said, so the family business, you've always been the entrepreneurial family, and from that, after your programming years and after all that good stuff, how did remote quality bookkeeping come about? What was the catalyst to starting that?
I obviously needed to be able to survive in the world and needed work and needed money. So it started working for a tax auditor, and he would send me out into the field, and I would perfect all the evidence he would need in order to present his case in front of whatever agency. So I learned how to build a tax return backwards. I actually stripped it apart and reassembled it. And so having that knowledge, I started a traveling outsourced bookkeeping service where I would show up at your door, spend an hour, and bring you up to the watermark, and then leave. And I would do this on a weekly or biweekly or monthly basis. But I got to the point where I would be sitting in traffic and literally biting my nails, wondering how am I going to make money sitting in traffic.
The worst thing in the world is traffic.
So I eventually realized I could do this, and I could host and outsource, host people's data and give them access to it. So I converted the 20 clients I had at the time and, kind of figured out as I went how I would do this, monetarily. And so that is the very beginning. Now today, I don't know if we want to jump all the way to today, but
we can always do it because again, we're going to get more in depth as this web series goes on.
Yep.
But you want us to have an overview because everyone hears the term cloud today. It's a very popular buzzword. So to those that don't quite understand that concept, what is the cloud and why do you feel it's more beneficial to do what you do, keep it remote, and use the cloud service rather than, like you said, do the whole, you got to schedule a time, door to door, which means that if I'm a business owner, I have to make sure that I am available at this location at that time, which is going to take me away, I feel, from the tasks I need to perform for my business. Because now, instead of doing what I got to do, it's like waiting for the cable guy. They're like, oh, I'll be there from 12 to 4, and now you've got a block of time that you can't do anything because you're waiting for it back then you to arrive. But now, you have this cloud. What is that?
To understand the cloud, you have to back up one step and understand what the internet is. The internet is nothing more, in its infancy, was nothing more than a lot of telephone lines dedicated, pick it up off the receiver, and that's a dedicated, on the call line. So it's a bunch of dedicated telephone lines, and data would travel back and forth between those telephone lines through what they had just devised called the modem. Today, it's a lot more sophisticated, but it is on that premise. So now, what is the cloud? The cloud is nothing more than just a residence on those telephone lines. So instead of being in a physical location, it's in a virtual location, and they've been able to encrypt it and secure it behind firewalls and encryption technology so that you can actually park data in a virtual server and have guards around the door and everything that you need to protect your information.
Yes, rather than those like a gun with those big fuzzy hats like in Britain, you have, like you said, the encryption and the security and firewalls and whatnot.
Yep.
All that stuff that we would.
So it's rudimentary, but it's very sophisticated in that we're able to run 85% of the United States GDP through
it's pretty amazing
accounting software that doesn't sit in your office.
And so So as a business owner, then again, I have a karate class, and I can't do anything remote, obviously, with that kind of a business. But I feel like business owners out there that are much larger can benefit greatly from a cloud-based service or a remote-based service such as this versus let's say hiring a bookkeeper or hiring what you used to have, where you have to actually physically meet to do your tax returns or to talk about payroll or to talk about all the other good stuff that you guys do. Because, we'll get into the services you guys provide in a minute. But is there a benefit as a business owner to be remote than there is to?
Absolutely. So physically, you put your faith in the person you hired to show up and do not only their job, but also add value beyond their expectations to the company, to the mission that the company is set forth for. In a virtual world, you're hiring a team. So in other words, I might have 4 or 5 data entry people and have them scheduled so that they come in, at different times, filling that entire capsule of time over a 40-hour week. And I have payroll experts that dedicate their day to just payroll-related tasks, which change all the time. Sales tax, meals tax, bank feeds, which is the act of synchronizing what your banks have for activity into the accounting software that you use so that it's timely, fresh, and accurate. Because in the case of a person showing up or you have a full-time employee acting as a bookkeeper, in the old days, you waited for that bank statement to come. So it might take 10 days to get there after the month has ended. So you're literally 6 weeks out from accuracy. When today, you're no more than 24 hours out from accuracy because of the bank feeds that they allow us to retrieve and migrate into the accounting. So instead of doing a monthly reconciliation, we do weekly reconciliations. And it keeps the owner more accurate with his knowledge of cash flow. What can I spend? A lot of people don't realize as they're getting into business the do's and don'ts and the rules and regulations regarding bookkeeping. One of the biggest blunders people make is putting a check out when they don't have the money in the account. And that's a federal offense. That's a crime.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And so in the case of, payroll taxes, if that happens, that's actually punishable by time in jail. So it's one of the things that we just take for granted that, we can just do these things, but you're tied to what can I spend. So cash flow to a new startup company is very important to understand and to be able to have constant interaction with that knowledge. Where am I at?
And it just seems like there's just so much to it that, if I'm running a business, let's say I'm running a grocery store, I feel like that little snippet alone sounded like too much for me to have to take in and deal with. I couldn't imagine running a business and having to put up with all that at the same time and try to. That's basically like trying to open up a bookkeeping business and my grocery store at the same time, because you have to obviously know everything that you just said to run a business. So you have to know both of those just to do the one. So I feel like it would also save time, effort, and it would leave you more. It would leave you more free to make sure that your business is growing the way that you want it to, rather than have to sit there and stress over numbers and did I get this on time? What is that? I don't know. Is this a regulation that I'm not following and all that good stuff? So that's what I took from that.
Our tagline is running your business getting in the way of running your business. So that kind of says it all.
Solid outro right there, if I may.
There are 5 key people that you should have in your satchel if you open a company, one of which is a bookkeeper, but a tax preparer, tax CPA, banker, and insurance, and lawyer. Those are the 5 things you should have in your arsenal for anybody opening up a business. And those can get expensive. So
and you offer 4 of those 5.
Yeah, and not only, in traditional means, a bookkeeper just did, menial tasks.
Yeah.
But in today's environment, hiring an outsourced solution means that you'll probably have access to over 14 different staff that you can, tap into data entry.
Yeah, who specialize in a certain field of all that.
Payroll expertise.
Yeah.
I got a letter from the IRS. What does this mean? That's the type of...
And just hoping your bookkeeper knows when you give it to him, like,
You're getting a much more diverse team of experts as opposed to one person.
More bang for your buck, as they say in the streets.
Yeah, that you have to rely on and hope that they show up and that they didn't have too much fun the night before and they're tired and make mistakes, and then you have to pay them benefits, time off, health insurance,
More payroll tax for you to deal with,
comp.
which they then have to do.
Yep. So there's a lot of benefits, not only education or informational wise, but monetarily as well.
Fantastic. Well, with that, Mark, I think we know what we're dealing with now. And like I said, this web-based series is going to continue on. We're going to have a whole lot more of all the things that we just discussed, really more in-depth with them. This one was just kind of to familiarize all of our viewers with what we do and kind of who we are on a broad scale. And then, as we discussed, we'll break it down and we'll go into depth about everything that we offer and all the great services that remote quality bookkeeping has out there. So
Right.
Thank you for being on, man, and can't wait to get this going. Thanks for watching the web-based series presented by Remote Quality Bookkeeping and the AdamRondauShow.com. Keep up with all episodes of this series, as well as information on upcoming episodes on social media. Remote Quality Bookkeeping can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And if you have a question pertaining to something you heard on this episode, or you want to ask your own question to have answered on a future episode, ask us on social media or email us directly at marketing@rqb.co. And if you're looking for more entertainment, be sure to check out the AdamRondauShow.com. The Adam Rondeau Show can also be found on Facebook or Twitter and Instagram at Adam Rondeau Show. Thanks again from all of us at Remote Quality Bookkeeping, the cloud-based outsourced bookkeeping service.